You go, I go, here we go! With a proactive attitude, sunny disposition, and selfless nature. Asakura Riku is a young man who spends his life in Japan, completely unaware of where he came from. It wasn't until one fateful day when the fusion monster Skull Gamora attacked his home that Riku inherits the ability to combine Ultra Capsules containing the energy of past Ultra Warriors. By fusing the combined capsules of Ultraman and Ultraman Belial, Riku is able to transform into Ultraman Geed Primitive, the first of his many transformations in the show. But with the weight of public perception now on his shoulders, along with the shocking revelation of his father's dark origins coming to light, can Ultraman Geed save Japan from the darkness that haunts his past? You can find out yourself by checking out Ultraman Geed, the latest and greatest in the Ultra series. If anybody's interested, you can check it out on Crunchyroll, and no, they didn't pay me to say that. Alright, so to start off this review, if anybody is interested in seeing the box art for Geed Primitive and my review on the actual package design, you can check out my unboxing. It's at the end card of this video. Alright, in terms of articulation, Geed is pretty darn solid. If you've had any of the more recent releases of the Ultraman for the SH Figuarts line, you kind of know what to expect. His head can look side to side a good amount, looks down, can look up. The back fin folds in when you want to move his head up, and his neck allows him to move down his head a little bit more. So back and forth for the neck. For the upper torso, you can move down and back a bit. Of course, the back fin does kind of get in the way, so you can't really go too far back, although you can try. It's about as much as you're gonna get. You can look from the side to side. Lower abdominal crunch can bend forward this much in conjunction with the upper torso, so quite a bit there. You can move back quite a good amount. A little side to side there as well. You don't want to overstress these joints. Something to note before we get to the actual arms, they do not allow Geed to relax his arms as some of the other Ultramen, which is very odd. I'll show you a comparison right now. Here's a comparison so you guys can see for yourself. As you can see, Orb Origin allows his arms to just kind of slink down, relaxed in a nice straight pose, while Geed is kind of forced to have his arms kind of sticking out a little bit to the sides. I don't know, it's a very interesting design choice, and I'm gonna have to dock points for that one. I'm not really a big fan of how I'm not able to relax his arms, but of course, the arm articulation is still pretty solid. You can move the arm around that much. You can move it in and out here at the shoulder. You can move it up quite a bit just by kind of pulling it out and pushing into the shoulder joint, so you can get them to go up that high. You got to bend at the bicep that much, a double ball joint. You also get a bicep swivel at the wrist, and you got a ball joint there as well. In terms of the leg articulation, you can move it up forward that much. You can also move it back only about, I would say, that much. For this part of the sculpt starts to rub up against each other. We don't want that to damage any of the paint or the figure itself. The leg can actually split out this much, and always push this flap of the suit inward as you do so you don't have it bump against the underwear area. And yeah, you can actually get these legs to split quite a bit. This leg joint can also twist from side to side, as you can see here. And yeah, still looks a little weird, but they're improving their game. I like that. And you get a double ball joint at the knee, so nice bend there. And for the foot, you can kind of get some side to side motion here. Ankle rocker movement. And yeah, just trying to rotate it a bit. Probably not a good idea. You don't want to bust that joint. Move the foot around this much. and of course the always welcome toe joint.
Alright, so starting from the top, you can see that Geed Primitive's mask is definitely eye-catching from those Belial-shaped eyes. The mask does have your typical metallic silver paint scheme, so no complaints there, but it's the eyes that really get the most attention. And they have a really nice cloudy translucent blue with a subtle texture eye effect that moves with the light source. As you can see here, I'm using this light as an example so you can see how the texture in the eyes actually moves with that. It's really sweet. I freaking love this. I think it was a nice touch. You really have to get close to see it for yourself in person, but it's really damn cool. Now, another defining characteristic of Ultraman Geed Primitive is his chaotic suit design. By looking at the body of the figure, all the details check out and are sculpted wonderfully, like the bevels on his chest area, along with the blue color timer that thankfully stays nice and snug like it should. The use of red, black, and metallic silver paint is nicely applied for the most part. This is Tamashii we're talking about here, so while they did a decent job keeping the paint within the mold lines, it does tend to bleed off in some areas. And not all is perfect with the paint, as there are some instances of paint chipping off and scuffs on mine. Pretty bummed out about that, as you can see here, but overall for the design of the sculpt, I think it's pretty good.
Really love the work they did with the fins on his forearms, down his back, and the back of his head, and his helmet on the top, give him a very shark-like appearance.
Now, in terms of the accessories, Ultraman Geed Primitive actually does come with a variety of extra hands, along with his red color timer and signature wrecking burst beam effect. Now, first, by default, Geed Primitive has his clenched fist hands right out of the box for when he's ready to knock some sense into somebody. A pair of somewhat open grabby hands that Geed usually uses in his signature pose. Another pair of open hands that can be used for Geed's signature Dawnshine pose, and then a pair of flat, straight hands for when he's about to karate chop somebody, or as he's just getting ready to execute his Wrecking Burst. Now, speaking of his Wrecking Burst, we have arguably one of the coolest looking beam effects ever released for the Figuarts Ultraman line, and the use of translucent blue and the really nice blood red paint used on the veiny like bolts going through it is nicely applied and complements the chaotic nature of Geed's suit. I absolutely love it, although I would have liked to see a little bit more use of blacks in here to kind of accent the blood red that they used. I think it would have been a nice touch if they added some extra depth to that. And last but not least, we have the optional red color timer for when Geed is running out of time. And while it is a bit more pinkish than I would have liked, it does get the job done and isn't too much of a pain to put in.
Alright, to remove the color timer, all you really have to do is push down on the lower part of it, and then to kind of use your nail to pull it out from the top there. So all you gotta do is just line it up and push it in, and voila. Well, you all know what time it is. It's time for the size comparisons. Here we have the rest of the SH Figuarts Ultraman line that I do have in my current collection right now. Along with some SH Monster Arts. And Robot Spirits Gypsy Avenger.
Okay, so overall, being a big fan of Ultraman Geed, this guy was an absolute no-brainer when it came to picking him up. I got him on AmiAmi for about $60 US, and that includes the EMS shipping. Do I feel like he was worth it? Well, Of course, I love Ultraman Geed and his unique look, however, that doesn't mean this release isn't without some issues. While I'm willing to look past it, some may not like how you're not able to rest his arms down to his side. That limitation is an odd one that they decide to go with. I feel the worst offender being the little paint chips here and there. And I do feel he could have also benefited from having an extra head accessory with his red eyes for when Belial's mind fucking with him. But hey, maybe that will come with the Figuarts re-release of Ultraman Belial. Come on, get on it, Tamashii. These Ultra Act prices are killing me here. For those of you on the fence, I hope this review was helpful to some degree. If it was, feel free to hit that like button, share the video, and maybe sub to the channel for more videos like this. Really appreciate the support, and I'm interested in knowing which form of Ultraman Geed would you like to see get that Figuarts treatment. I'd personally love to see his badass magnificent form. Now the end card is showing up now with that subscribe button along with some other videos that may interest you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.